Yo guys, welcome to the Blue Podcast with our biggest podcast yet. We've got 3 guests on. Obviously, there's me and Ben, and we've got JC, who's our United fan in this video for the podcast. He's also on the YouTube channel Unitedtalk TV. So make sure you guys check him out. He'll be in the description. We've also got #Alfie, who's going to be our Liverpool fan today. He's also on the channel #superfans, so go check that out. And we got Finn, who's going to be our Leicester fan in this debate. All right, we upload these Thursday 4 p.m. every week, so make sure you check them out. 50% of people who are watching our videos are still not subscribed. Come on, guys, make sure you hit that subscription. It's not very difficult, and it's completely free. So, and also check out our Twitter at the Blue Podcast 1. Message us if you want to come on, and we try and talk on there. But I mean, me and Ben aren't very good on Twitter, so that's it. All right, let's get into some recent news. I want to start off with the Bayern thrashing Barcelona. What do you guys got to think about that?
Where do you start with that? I mean, it shouldn't happen. Is the first thing to say. I mean, there's no. This is a Barcelona team that you go 2-3 years back, one of the best sides in the world, and Bayern Munich have always been there or thereabouts, but they're not. They shouldn't be putting 8 past Barcelona, surely.
No, and in my opinion, it also makes Chelsea look better because we only lost 4-1. So. Of course.
But I think the biggest surprise for me in that Bayern team is Gnabry. He was nowhere playing for Arsenal, even had his loan spell at West Brom, and he was, no one, and he's just been phenomenal for them.
I think it just shows that if you find a club that suits you and sort of your personality and everything like that, it can work. You just need to find that club, and some players may never even find that, which is why they don't realize the potential, but you never react, really.
Hang on a second. All right. Well, sorry, we had a few technical issues there, but we got Finn back in speaking. He was trying to say something. I don't know if he can remember.
It was something about a one-season wonder. You see it with players. I don't know. So, what was his name? The Swansea striker,
Michu.
In the right system under the right manager, you can score so many goals, and it just doesn't work with some players at some clubs.
Yeah, I think Alfie, you'll be quite familiar with Coutinho. He went to Barca, didn't have, went for a heavy price tag, and then he goes and scores 2 goals and get an assist against Barca on loan.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of a weird one because, like you say, he's really done a lot of nothing, Coutinho. But then, like you say, he just sort of turned up. The thing is, I mean, Coutinho is a quality footballer. We knew that when he was at Liverpool. We've known that for a long time. And even when he transferred and wasn't playing well, everyone knew he was a good footballer. But the problem was he wasn't displaying that and wasn't really justifying his price. Now he's stepped up again, just as the rumours were starting to swell that he could even be returning to Liverpool, which I'm not necessarily sure is.
He's linked to Leicester.
Yeah, I mean, surely he's not. Surely not.
No, not afterwards.
I think there's a case with Barca, though, that it was a similar thing where the system and the club didn't suit him, which is why he wasn't showing his potential.
Which is what I think is happening with Griezmann right now as well.
Yeah.
Griezmann's not showing his potential at Barcelona.
This is feeding into sort of the talk about they don't have any direction as a club. And I think the problem, I understand the thing about Pochettino, the fans wouldn't like him because he managed and played for Espanyol. But I would have gone all out for him instead of Koeman. I think they might be making a mistake there, to be honest. I think.
But I think Poch even said to him. I think Poch even said he won't. He won't.
Yeah, I did see that there were talks with him. So
yeah, they were. Yeah, with Xavi as well, I believe. Yeah.
Right. So I don't know. I think they might be making the wrong move because this. I don't think they've still quite worked out what the direction is yet.
No, it's so short term.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of the thing about football nowadays. How many managers are ex-players for the club they're managing right now? Like it's Solskjaer, Lampard. I mean, like there is a big trend in Zidane,
even
now
Pirlo,
Koeman, and Pirlo as well.
From Juventus.
There's a massive trend in ex-players managing their clubs right now.
I think that is better because they understand the club and stuff. But I don't know. When you've got a manager of Pochettino's quality, it's like it's just there.
I don't think he would ever sign for Barca though, because his links.
Yeah.
And I think it would have been a great appointment, but it never would have happened. It's a Barca, but
yeah, that's true. It's true.
Well, speaking from a United perspective, when Jose in his third season, when they fired him, gave him the sack, then Oli came in, he did a fantastic job. He brought back all the tradition of the club, instilled that back in, and then obviously after that night in Paris, they gave him the full-time job, and then I think he's the right man for us. Ex-player, he understands the club, he understands the values. Very inexperienced, similar to Lampard, but I think with the difference, I like Lampard because you can see the philosophy he instills with the young players. Oli, I think on Sunday night you could see he doesn't trust his bench, so we need to definitely invest in the squad to close that gap on Liverpool and City.
Yeah, well, I was about to mention that 2-1 loss to Valencia, because I don't know if it's just me being a biased fan here, but all I find with Fernandes is he only scores penalties, which is kind of.
They get enough of them. I mean, blimey, it's not a bad thing.
No, but they only got one penalty all game, right? And one goal.
But you know what's, I hear you. That's fair enough. A fair enough point. But Fernandes, when he came in, we were 14 or 15 points behind Leicester in third place.
Yeah. I'm not doubting his impact. I'm just making a funny comment about it.
Yeah, I hear that, and it's a fair point. But I'm saying, 15 points. Okay, Leicester did kind of bottle it towards the end. But catch 15 points from them. No, it's true though. You did kind of bottle it.
True. We can't deny that. To be honest.
But to get 15 points, you would never have thought Man United stood a chance of getting even third place, and they did it since the lockdown.
Yeah, I think it's not a case of Bruno being like a penalty like specialist. It's a case, I think it's more a question of why United have got so many penalties. And I understand the argument that they get into the box so much, but it's still, some of the penalties have been questionable, like the one where Bruno, he stood on the player and that was given a pen. And then another game, I think someone else stood on the player and it wasn't given as a pen. So it's inconsistency and stuff like that.
But I think that's got to do with the VAR as well.
Yeah, that's what I think.
That will change next season,
I think it's a good system, but I think in the English league, it's used. The officials are not using it correctly.
No.
But I mean, from a refereing perspective, that's one of the other things anyone doesn't know. I do referee Sunday morning football, certainly not on VAR level. But I'm not in Stockley. There's a whole story about me doing that at Sunday League. We won't go into that. But but no, I think sort of talking through with London FA, who I work with, and National FA, from next season, you are going to see a lot more of the referees going over to the monitor and making decisions for themselves, which is what you get in the other leagues. Because in the Premier League right now, we're getting a lot of, let's say, in theory at least, the best referee in England taking home to go. Say Mike Dean, icon, right? You've got Mike Dean going, no, it's not a penalty. Wait, hold on. No, it is. It is. And then, the problem is everyone's going, hold on, if you're stood there, why is someone else telling you you're? So in theory, we're now at least going to get the referee going off, checking it himself, so that you can at least get that little bit of, I've seen it and I change my personal mind.
Yeah, it's better because the referee in the match gets the feeling of the game as well. So he'll get he won't be like too sort of scientific, if you know what I mean. Like he still has a feeling in it.
I think Jose Mourinho said it once after a press conference during the lockdown. He said the referee is not the referee on the pitches. The referee sits in somewhere in London or wherever it is, So it will be good to see them coming over to the monitor and at least seeing it for themselves.
Exactly. I think it's crucial.
Yeah, but my thing as well is I'm asking you, Alfie, because the whole thing of not checking for a second yellow that sends a player off.
Yes, so this was one that upset people. Mainly, it was a playoff final. One of the playoff finals that this came up particularly big, where a player was sent off.
And the FA Cup final.
And the FA Cup final is the other one. Yeah, you're right.
Is Chelsea in there?
But I tell you what, and the reason this did, you're not wrong. Chelsea was the one that really did spark it. And the reason they don't have it is because fans hate the amount that VAR gets involved as it is. And the problem with checking for a second yellow is that if you're checking for a second yellow, you kind of have to check for the first yellow as well, because a yellow card's a yellow card. So just because a player's on a yellow card, and I suppose the biggest problem is a red card tackle. 9 times out of 10, you can watch something back on the replay and go, "Oh, that's blatantly a red card. He's come across of his leg. He's punched him in the face. He's, whatever's happened, it's a red card." Yellow card's much more subjective. I mean, it's very, very difficult to say 100% of the time, well, that's definitely a yellow card. And that's from a referee perspective myself. I mean, I can tell you, I referee all sorts of games. It's just a spur of the moment thing. You think that we need a yellow card here in the game. If VAR got involved with second yellows, it'd be farcical. It really would. And obviously, it's not ideal in some cases because poor old Chelsea. I know he's going to bawl his eyes out. It does, inevitably.
Yeah, but I completely agree with that. I agree with that statement. I know that's the case, but maybe not getting VAR involved. Shut up. Maybe getting VAR involved and just letting the ref go to the monitor for a second yellow is just to clarify. Because it's a big game moment. It's not like a yellow card.
This is the thing. So the other suggestion is like what you say. This idea that the referee could say, I've not seen that particular thing very well. Actually, we'd quite like to have another look at it. The problem with the second you introduce anything like that is the only way VAR works is by checking everything it's have to check. Because so it checks every goal, it checks every potential penalty, it checks every potential red card. If you introduce yellow cards, not only are you going to have a lot more stop-start, but if you start saying, okay, well, the referee can ask, all that's going to happen is every single time a challenge goes, all the players are going to go, "Ref, have a look. Come on, he's just done that." And the referee's going to go, "No, I don't want to look at that one. But actually, I do want to look at that one." And you then get this extra layer of check that's, you do. It's a balance. It's a balance.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Sweet. Should we move on to the Leon beating City 3-1 now?
No.
Someone's popped it.
What did Mbappe say? Mbappe said, he tweets out Farmers League and then laughing emojis.
Yeah, clown emoji with a clown emoji.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Two French teams. I mean, there's some good teams in France, but the standard's not high.
I'm not changing that.
Yeah, no. But I think Lyon are a good side. They're just well rounded and have some really good talent in. Is it Aouar? I don't know. Aouar. He's really good. He's linked to Man City actually. So but
take him.
They're a good side, and I think it'll be interesting to see if they can, win it.
I mean, I still think Bayern will win it because I mean, Lewandowski's in literally the form of his life.
He's been robbed of a Ballon d'Or this year, I think.
Oh, definitely.
Win the FIFA Player of the Year, shouldn't he? Is that still going ahead?
Going to awards. How Kevin De Bruyne won fucking Player of the Season Premier League, I have no idea. How is that not going to a Liverpool player? How does that not go?
Wait.
Last year, we won it and he went to a Liverpool player.
I'm not a
City fan, if you ask me.
I think it should have been De Bruyne still, and I'm not a City fan.
Nah, even me, I personally think De Bruyne deserved it.
Thank you.
Henderson, every day of the week.
See, Liverpool won because of their system and every player played for the team, right? If you're talking about best player in the Premier League, which is what there's no doubt, best the player of the season is. It's the best player in the league, and that is Kevin De Bruyne by far.
Virgil, even Virgil to win. You could give that award.
Maybe last season,
late
change
season,
he made.
He didn't actually. Yeah, he had a couple of awkward moments, but
I don't know.
We all do that. Yeah, all right. There's an argument both ways, perhaps, but I can sleep happy with a large Premier League trophy, even if we haven't got a player of the season.
But I think back to your Lyon City, I think that key moment was the Sterling miss. I think.
Oh my word, yes.
And then a good game, but
that changes it, brings it back to 2-2, and then from the resulting goal kick, Edison fumbles it, and then Dembele just.
As soon as that third goal went in, I was like, I can't take it. That's me done.
But that's football. Moments just like that change and dictate the whole game.
Well, it's what Guardiola and I think countless managers said. The games are decided in the box, in 2 boxes, and that was a perfect example. We didn't take our chance; they took theirs straight away.
It's like the Owen quote: "If you score more goals, you win," and he didn't. So,
but Ben, what do you think? Ben, what do you think though of his tactics for that game though? How he sets up and all that?
Yeah, it was obviously negative, but I think I did see something, and it was so Leon play a 3-5-2, and every time we've played a 3-5-2, we've lost. So he obviously had that in the back of his mind, thinking, I've got to change it because I've played the same way every time. I've lost. But I still think he should have just stuck to his principle.
Yeah, that was quite interesting because for me, Guardiola as a manager, he's like, it's my team, it's my football. We play the way we play and we dictate the game. And he changed it against Lyon. He finished 7th in League One.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize they finished 7th. Jeez.
Yeah, they finished 7th.
I think the manager, Leon, just knows how to play against Man City, though, because didn't he beat Arteta when he was managing Man City, wasn't he? Because Pep Guardiola can play a game. Oh my God, that wrong. Sorry.
I think.
Wait, no, Pep was in the stands?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but they beat them there as well. So I don't know if it's just something about Leon's play style, but and maybe Pep was thinking his tactic didn't work there, so he'd try and change it up.
But I mean, but Lyon are a good team. They beat Juventus as well in the previous round.
Yeah. I think all these factors were in the back of his mind, but he should just stick to his principles, really.
Yeah.
I guess the underdog first, the other thing. Like they are underdogs, and it's nice to go out to be able to play without pressure, essentially.
Yeah, definitely. It's like the Champions League almost thrives on underdogs. Most of the part of it, like the Ajax last season, now Lyon. I mean, Atlanta to a point as well. Atalanta.
They play good football.
Yeah. Leipzig, I think they've just been smashed, though, haven't they?
Yeah.
I haven't seen the score.
They were 2-0 down at half time.
Here we go. Was
3-0.
3-0. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
They're not a bad side, though, Leipzig. They actually do have players, so.
That'll be a good final, I think, Bayern versus PSG.
That'll be a massive final.
A lot of goals.
Oh, I hope so.
It'll be interesting because PSG play a high line, and Bayern play a high line. PSG have Mbappe, Neymar, Di Maria, and they're more than willing to send it long to Mbappe in behind. So it's going to be stretching their defence, and they're not going to like running back to the goal. They're not going to want to do that. So, but then they have got just as good. So,
but Bayern can play that because they have got an exceptionally fast defence.
Yeah. But I mean, I know they won the last match against Barca. They smashed them, but the 2 goals that Barca did score, it was getting in behind the defence.
Yeah. So, well, one was an own goal that just loops.
Yeah,
that was a funny own goal.
Yeah. But
how good is Alfonso Davies?
Oh,
very good.
Yeah,
I can think of a Scotsman who's challenging for that, but I'll give it to you for now.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say on current form, it is Alfonso Davies.
He's not leaving Bayern anytime soon. They're not leaving.
No, definitely not. Well, you just said speaking about moving. I've got some transfers written down here. Has anyone got any that they want to speak about first?
I think Chilwell to Chelsea. That's a big one.
Yeah,
Chelsea fan.
Big one. He's had his medical apparently.
Yeah. Fee around 80 million is a lot, but
I paid 50.
Really?
Yeah.
It'll be somewhere between the two.
Yeah.
I cannot see 50. I mean, I could see around 60, 70, but Leicester don't sell their players for cheap.
No.
You've seen that.
It's
because we bought him for 80, so.
And Mahrez and yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it is different because Mahrez is an attacking player who's very good. Maguire is a centre back. They're positions that can win you a title, whereas left backs.
I mean, different. Now you've said 50. I wouldn't sell him for that. I would want personally. I think because with Chilwell, probably one of the better left backs in the Premier League. He's young, he's English. People think that he's like 23, 24.
Yeah,
he's
he's really young.
Really good player. He's not been great for Leicester, but I don't think he like this season, because I don't think he's been quite as invested.
Didn't he have a good start, but then he got injured
he
and then
had a
came
good
back?
Start, and then after that Liverpool game where we lost 4-0, he lost his calm and
Look at that.
I got distracted by Alfie there.
He's just busy eating and going like this.
I was eating the mangoes. Crack on, sorry.
But no, I wouldn't want to. I would want a bit more than 50, but I suppose he's a left back, so you don't get as much for that.
But he's English.
He's
That's enough. That's enough.
That's what I mean. I don't think it will be 50. I think it'll be.
Maybe it'll probably be 50 initial, and then maybe add-ons as well.
Around. Yeah, we're rumored to replace him with excite me. Like to Telles and my mind's went blank. The Ajax left back, Tagliafico.
Yeah.
I think that shows how the appeal of Leicester.
Exactly. Yeah.
They went last season. They wouldn't have done that.
Yeah, we're definitely on the rise, and some of the players we're linked with, it's really exciting. So yeah, I would sell Telles. Sell Chua and get Telles or Tagliafico because I think it's great.
Well, as you said, you're linked with a lot of exciting players. We haven't really spoken much about Liverpool transfer news on this channel. So, like, what has there been lately?
Well, I mean, I'll tell you what, I'm always sceptical to keep to sort of follow, because a lot Liverpool are one of the sides that get rumoured to sign just about every player in the world. Just anyone who's any good seems to be rumoured to come to Liverpool. It's always Liverpool or City or Arsenal, bizarrely, for whatever reason. It's always so. And I think
top six.
but the thing is, in fairness, I think when it's the Liverpool side that have shown how good they are. So this isn't actually a Liverpool side that need any real first team players in it. We've proven we've got that. What we're looking for is the players just below that, the depth, to be able to put outside that are competitive in the Premier League and the Champions League and the Cups. Because, I mean, let's say last season, FA Cup, I mean, we tried to get ourselves knocked out of Cups many occasions, and we just kept beating people. We literally played the under-23 side on a couple of occasions and still put 5 past Arsenal. I mean,
and how many past Everton as well? When you beat Everton quite bad.
I remember. Yeah. Well, this is the thing. I mean, it was literally a case, Klopp going, just they can play. We'll get out of this cup. Jurgen, we won. What do you mean we won? How do we win? Like,
scream of that as well against Everton.
That's the, I mean, it's good. That is the thing, and I was glad we got kind of the opportunity towards the end of the season, and that's why I'm sad the 5 subs rule is gone now, because I quite like that. I think anyone who's as a fan of a larger club would like that, because
as a smaller club, like I know it's not a teensy club, but we've not got anywhere near as good subs as you guys. It's such a disadvantage. Like 5 players for us is a lot. Like we did not have 5 quality starting subs. It wouldn't be fair on the smaller club.
With us, we can bring on Mahrez, Bernardo.
I know.
City's is bonkers.
You've got like Mark Albrighton and
on his day he's good.
Hey, Mark Albrighton's won a Premier League. He's won a Premier League.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it is true. I mean, the irony is, even though City have got that squad depth, they're still awful in defence. So it's like it doesn't really do much for you.
I mean, another thing, City's Champions League ban being overturned as well, which is big for them, because there was potential. I won't even go into how ridiculous I think it was overturned.
We talked plenty about it on the channel.
No, I mean, so there's not much to say apart from the fact I think UEFA are going to really struggle to have any ability to do anything anymore. But
anyway, the oil money coming through there.
Literally, I mean, it's just, you know what? We're going to punish you for spending too much money. How about we give you more money and you get rid of our punishment? Yeah, that's fine, no problem. So, it is what it is. But because of that, it means that City now will still continue to attract top quality players. The players aren't going to want to leave.
Season, really.
I mean, it's,
that was like the most important match, you could say, for us. Because if that we had been banned for 2 seasons, that's our next 2, 3, 4 seasons go to top 4 maybe. If one year you can argue doing okay, but to completely overturn it, which I didn't expect, was a win that made everything else not matter really. Because if we would have lost De Bruyne, Sterling, we would have lost all that.
Yeah, the top 40 players would have left, exactly, and that's the thing. And whether we're going to get this multi-millionaire Newcastle coming along or not, who knows? They've tried a couple of times, haven't they? But
JC, I was just literally today, I saw the news that Henderson has been told he's not going to be starting for United next week and allowed to leave the club.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, what's your view on that?
That's to be honest, I would have loaned him out for one more season back to Sheffield or somewhere like that. So he can gain more first team football somewhere. And then the following season bring him in as number 1. That's just me personally. But if they told he's allowed to leave, that's actually a big loss then.
Well, I think the thing was with him is he really wanted to be starting and not be on loan, if that makes sense, for a big club. Because
that makes sense, John.
So
Sheffield United are getting Aaron Ramsdale.
So
I don't know what's going on there. So I knew, but Man U also linked with Schmeichel.
Yes, I saw that, but that's the same as Alfie said. United, City, Liverpool, we all get rumoured with every single player, and
wouldn't have made sense at all.
No,
I personally think Henderson should go to Chelsea. I think that's actually where he would thrive. I think that's a position that Chelsea could do with bolstering, and I think
I would love to have Henderson.
I think that'd be a really good signing. But I don't know whether he stays in England or not. I don't know. But
isn't selling Kepa a bit of a risk? You really think you should?
A risk?
I mean, it's a bit of a risk.
80 million. You're going to make such a loss.
But considering we didn't buy anyone for so long, and we have the hazard money, we sold Morata to get Werner. We've literally lost no money so far in every person we've signed. It's not really a loss because we've got the money.
It's different. I mean,
sometimes you just got to cut your losses. Sometimes you just got to cut your losses.
If you're a Leicester fan, I can understand maybe not selling your 80 million quid keeper because you haven't got the money, but
do you not just think maybe sign an experienced keeper who can teach him a few things, like even like Ben Foster, probably bring him in for a season. He could teach for a few things. He's a good Premier League goalkeeper.
We want to be challenging next season, though. That's the thing. We can't bring in. That's why I think we might bring in Onana if we don't get Henderson, and I think Kepa won't be sold. He will be on like a 2-year loan somewhere because no one's going to buy him in this transfer market right now.
Why didn't you bring Karius in or Mingele in?
Please, they're great. They're great keepers, honestly. Just think of a Champions League final. I think the keeper, the name that shocked me right now was Joe Hart, who I thought was dwindling away off his career done, and then he just rocks up. I think he played all right for the various small teams he played for, but he's never seemed like
the best.
Spurs quality.
I mean, Ben's probably got the best experience with Joe Hart as City.
He was fantastic up until just before the Euros. And the Euros, he was just went downhill, and then after that, Pep's binned him off, and then he just completely disintegrated his career. So.
But I think Pep got rid of him because he's not that ball playing goalkeeper, and that's Pep's style of football.
Yeah, but I mean, even though we did bin him off, it didn't inevitably have to be that his career went down the pan. But
that's true.
It did.
But goalkeeping is such a difficult position because not just to play, but because if you're a top quality striker, everyone knows you're a top quality striker. You score loads of goals, and you get your big transfer money moved to wherever you're going. If you're playing at a big side, you're getting lots of opportunity to score those goals, so you look great. As a keeper, second he's moved from City to West Ham to wherever the hell he's playing football, he's suddenly gone from playing with a really solid defence and not facing all that many shots. And when he had a pretty good ratio to suddenly, he's still a perfectly good keeper. But when you're playing for a side that's got loads of shots against you, you're going to concede goals because that's inevitable, which makes you look worse as a keeper, even when you're not. And that is the difficulty of being a keeper at a lower club. And that's why Dean Henderson stood out so much, because he was at a club that, in theory, wasn't great, but clean sheets all over the gaff. I mean, it was...
It's a bit like Nick Pope. He was the highest... Go on.
When he went on loan to Torino, Italy, the fans hated them as well. And his confidence went from that to like voted worst signing of the season, and the fans hated him, and they were literally like, I think that's had a big impact on his like.
Well, his agent's getting a massive amount of money for pulling that deal out of somewhere. I don't know how he managed that, but he's a very rich man somewhere in West London.
But he's going in. There's Spurs' number 2. He's not going to be a starter anyway.
No.
He won't play much football, realistically. He'll just have a nice, comfy wage and sit on the. I always think it's the best job in the world, being a backup goalkeeper of the Premier League. You basically get paid for a season ticket to sit there, maybe play the odd cup game, be a light laugh. Sign me up.
Well, would you think that, for example, Nick Pope, who's had phenomenal numbers this season, would do better compared to someone do better going to a better club, and that compared to an amazing keeper who's at a really good club going to a worse club? If that makes sense.
I think it comes down to, because like I say, it's really hard to make a name for yourself at a smaller club in goal, because like I say, you're conceding a lot of goals, no matter whether it's your fault or not. You concede a lot of goals. But once you've made that stand, and if you can do a Nick Pope or you can do a Dean Henderson, you can make your point and say, look, I actually am a good keeper, and you've seen it. Then you get the luxury of being able to move to a bigger club where you can do less and still. It's a bit like Alisson, even. In fact, I think Alisson's a very solid keeper, but you don't really know where he compares, because the Liverpool defence has been so solid that it's quite hard to directly compare keepers in the Premier League, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
If I was Frank Lampard, I'd be looking at Nick Pope or Dean Henderson to replace Kepa.
I've mentioned this before to Ben. I really want Nick Pope. I really want Nick Pope.
You have a really English backlining goalkeeper as well. If you were to get them, you'd have Chilwell at left back, Reece James at right back, and you then could dunk for 50 million as well. What's interesting signing? And Tomori.
His numbers are really good.
Stones is linked as well, isn't he?
Oh God,
yeah.
I don't want to get Stones.
We
don't want Stones.
Weird one, that.
Don't want Stones.
Well, I mean, I suppose we could bring it round to Sancho. Is he still on the cards?
You know, I want Sancho, and I think I think he walks into any of the teams. He walks into City, he walks into Liverpool. He walks into any. Okay, maybe not Liverpool. Or Liverpool. Mane, Salah.
He'd play as as a solid super sub, probably Sancho at Liverpool.
Yeah, but I think he walks into City, walks into Chelsea, walks into United team. I want him, but is 120 million euros? I think that's the number going around. Is that affordable during COVID-19 times, during a pandemic? Is that ethical? You've got to like raise these questions. For me, spend the cash. I don't care. I'm a fan. I'm a fan. I think we got Greenwood, Rashford, and Martial. That's a solid front three. But I think if like Rashford on Sunday night, I don't know if you guys watched the Sevilla game in the Europa League semi-final, but Rashford had a poor game. And if you're able to, and we've got Dan James on the bench, and Oli doesn't trust him. But if you've got a Sancho, that's squad depth, you can bring him on to replace Rashford. So for me, Sancho is, and I think he is the top priority. I think Solskjaer loves him. I think he wants to go to the club. I think Fabrizio Romano has been tweeting a lot about Sancho and the deal with United. So for me, we have to get him, but will they pay the money? We know Ed Woodward and the Glazers, they're not, they're very stingy with money.
Do you think it's still on the cards, or do you think with everything that's being said, like the Dortmund director being like 10th of August done, it's not happening. But then you see the stuff. It was like He was saying it was a couple of years ago with Ousmane Dembele. He was like, "No,
Yes.
he's not going." 2 weeks later,
And then he goes. Yes, I'm still confident the deal will be done if United if they pay what Dortmund are asking.
Right.
I think that will still happen, but if they don't put in an offer, then Dortmund will just say they'll go back to their comments that they've said. You know what? There was no offer. We said we're keeping him, but if there is an offer, I think he will come.
Yeah.
You go. I'll stretch me back. I'll stretch me back.
So if you don't get Sancho, out of the alternatives, who would you prefer?
You know, that's a good question. Sancho to even Dembele. Dembele is at Barcelona, and you know, and they're also there's talks about Kingsley Coman. Those are big degrades. That is a massive downstep from Sancho. You know, and I think OGS he even said it on Sunday in his post-match conference. He said we need quality signings and we want the best. So I think I don't even want to talk about alternatives. It's Sancho, nothing for me.
Yeah.
I think he's got a big risk of flop, though. I think he's the kind of player I can imagine if he gets a massive transfer fee attached to it. I mean, yes, he's looked all right recently, but if you think back to the early Bundesliga resume games, Sancho was very average. Then he shaves, and all of a sudden he became great.
He did come back from injury at that point.
But he's still got quality.
In the top 5 leagues across Europe, Sancho, I think, is number 3 on that list in terms of assists with De Bruyne and Messi. He's 3rd on that list, 4th on that list in the top 5 leagues across Europe. So
there's no denying he's a baller. I'm not wouldn't say that for a second.
And he's 20 years old.
I suppose what you're trying to say is it's that thing where this club might not suit him and the way they play. But I think it will. I think it will.
I think he will. But that's also another thing. You spend all that cash on Sancho, but then you don't add depth into a new centre back, which we desperately need, and another attacking midfielder. Another central midfielder or defensive midfielder, another midfielder.
If you had the option of getting a centre back and a defensive midfielder or Sancho, would you get the 2 players?
Maybe an unpopular opinion, but for me, get Sancho. but at the same time, I understand and I do realize we do need another centre back and we do need another midfielder, and that's probably not possible in this window if we get Sancho. And another thing is we've got so much dead wood. Pereira, Lingard, Mata, Phil Jones.
Don't call Mata dead wood. He saved your ass so many times.
I can go on and on and on. I'm happy we got rid of Sanchez. That was the biggest. Oh my word! I celebrated that night.
You're still paying a bit of his wages though, because you pay him a ridiculous amount.
I think we sold him for. We didn't even sell him for a single pound or anything. He just
you could look at it this way. You could get your centre back and defensive midfield this year, and Sancho's still going to be there next year.
But you know what the problem is? You know what the problem is with that? I think Man United are probably the only ones who can afford him right now. But if you wait till next year, then you're waiting for Real Madrid and Barcelona to enter that picture. And if there's a transfer race, United typically don't win those if there's other clubs involved.
Fair enough, yeah.
If I'm honest though, I think that you've seen Sanchez, who had played fantastically for Arsenal, pops over to Man U, and all of a sudden it's kind of a bit. And I think that, not only because their names are similar, but I think they're not a risk that... Sancho and Sanchez are relatively similar players. They do relatively similar things because they play in a relatively similar position. So it's not a high chance that exactly the same thing happens to him as well.
I don't think there's any question. I think Sancho will do well at Man U.
And the differences between Sancho and Sanchez is like 14 years in age difference. You know what I mean?
He's got that time to adapt. But I think it's... How do you feel about the like seeing the way Lukaku's playing and Sanchez and Young with Inter? Are you not bothered or?
Lukaku's a quality footballer. As he's doing well for Inter. He just didn't work out at United. He just didn't suit the system. It's just one of those things. I think that was on top of the show. On the show, which spoke about how different players adapt to systems and how they flourish under these systems. And Lukaku just didn't fit the system and just didn't work out. But no denying his qualities and his goal scoring threats.
bit like Sanchez and Di Maria, really. But I think they played.
But I think Di Maria is just a snake. He just didn't like it in Manchester.
Straight to the point. Straight to the point.
But I think they play to his strength, Inter, don't they?
Well, I was going to say, I don't know why as you're saying, he fits Conte's system at Inter. Why didn't he come to Chelsea when Conte was literally playing the perfect system for a bulky, powerful striker? He went to United instead.
Conte did wonders. He inherited a 10th place team the previous season, and then he won the league.
Marcus Mourinho,
yeah, and he won the league.
With Alonso and Moses as wing backs.
I know, that's mad.
But Alonso was quality that year.
Oh, he still is. He's just played in the wrong position. Alonso. Alonso is a phenomenal left wing back, but a shocking left back. That's the issue. We want to play 4 at the back, but we're not good enough to play 4 at the back. Well, no, Alonso doesn't play at left back, which is why at the end of the season we actually started playing 5 at the back and doing pretty well, considering we dropped off at form at the start. But well, I also wanted to kind of keep on going on the hype of young talent with what do you guys think of Kai Havertz to Chelsea?
That'll be a good move. That'll be a good move. I think that'll be a good move.
It'll be very interesting to see whether he does. So in theory, he should flourish and be fantastic. But he is one of those players that, I mean, I suppose like any signing, you just hope that he does hit the ground running and turn up. I mean, obviously, I don't. I find it very amusing if he failed miserably. But I think in theory he should do very well. But
yeah, but my kind of reassurance with the worry, like if you sign Sancho, you haven't got what we have in a sense of the back of. We've got Ziyech and Werner also coming in, so at least 1 or 2 of them are going to do very well for us. And amazingly, if all 3 of them do really well for us. So like if we buy Havertz now with a hefty price tag of like 80-90 million, we've still got 2 class players coming in. Whereas if you sign Sancho when he's a flop, that's your whole transfer window being a failure.
I still think.
Let's try down there.
I mean, Chelsea are signing quality players left, right, and centre, but I still think there's a reason why Solskjaer United want Sancho so much, and it's because he will suit their system.
Definitely.
So
there's no denying that. It is a big risk. You did make a good point there, Tom, in saying you invest all in Sancho, and if he does turn out to be a flop, then that's your whole transfer window gone. It is a good point, but I just think Sancho, he will just add that.
Oh no, yeah, I was just playing devil's advocate in that.
Yeah, 100%.
It's true though. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time that a club goes big, spends big money on a player. If that one player they've gone and put their heart in, even if he just gets injured, I mean, that then you've got to go. Oh, I'm about to say team. So it's like,
But you know what? I think if we go all in for Sancho, that's fine, because I think Axel Tuanzebe is coming back from injury now in September, and I think he will suit Maguire actually pretty well, in my personal opinion. I think Tuanzebe will do well, and then you still got Lindelof and Bailey on the bench, which is all right for now.
I've always thought Bailey's a really good centre back.
I would have a 50 in a heartbeat.
I do like Bailey, but the problem is he's just rash at times, and he's injury prone. That's another big concern, He's always injured. I think you even saw in that FA Cup semi-final,
It's probably the reason why
he's always injured
more, because he feels he's, I don't know.
I like Lindelof, I like Maguire, I like Bailey, but they just don't suit each other as a partnership, if that makes sense. Yeah. They're good footballers in their own rights, but they just don't work well together as a partnership.
Yeah. Keeping on centre backs, what do you think about Koulibaly to City?
That'll be a huge signing.
That will be a good signing, I think. Better than Ake.
Yeah, I think it's really obvious what we need with all the links. It's like Koulibaly, Ake. It's like, do they need a centre back? I'm not sure.
Yeah, but I don't think you've ever mentioned you need a centre back before in the podcast.
I've never mentioned that.
I think that's been City's biggest problem is no one replaced company.
Yeah, definitely.
that was the biggest, and I think it was shown throughout the season in most parts.
We just don't
Do you have faith Ake will? Because I don't think Ake is quite that level. Like, he's not relegated to Bournemouth.
I don't think he's going to play. I don't think he's going to play centre back. I think he'll play left back.
Oh,
interesting.
The thing is, I find with Ake is I think Bournemouth would have been relegated 2 through maybe 3 seasons ago if he wasn't in their defence. Like they were a failing side, and he was literally the only player, apart from maybe Fraser last season with his assists, that was keeping them in the Premier League.
The thing with Ake is that he's left-footed, so he's not. Well, in my opinion, I wouldn't play 2 left-footers, Ake and Laporte, together. It doesn't suit. So that's why I think he'll play left back with Koulibaly and Laporte, then Ake left back.
Very good defence.
I know, so it's a very good defence, isn't it?
Yeah.
We'll still win, but it's a nice challenge.
He said his best position is DM. So.
I can play there as well. That's where I play on FIFA.
He's versatile. I saw something about that Douglas Luiz who plays for Aston Villa.
Yes, he got a buyback clause.
Got a buyback on him as a replacement for Fernandinho, which he's young, so
he played well, relatively well this season.
I don't really know enough about him because I don't really watch Aston Villa, but
I got a mate who supports Villa, and he says he loves him. He loves Douglas Luiz.
Right. Could be a good option.
I don't like him. I watch Villa, but I don't. I
don't really know enough about him,
but there's a few people that rate him. There's a few people out there who rate him. So
I'm sure Pep can get the best out of him as well.
It does come across as a Fernandinho type player to me. So
Brazilian and quite technical.
So does Luis. You see him like David Luiz. I mean,
no.
There's a whole other conversation you can have there.
Oh my word. At least we got no Arsenal fans on it, because otherwise I'd be like,
but they
screw you for Declan Williams. 220k. Oh, they are. But, I was speaking to a mate about this though, about how Arsenal fans everyone thinks they're just delusional fans. I think it's quite a lot because of Arsenal Fan TV, and they're
definitely
source of fans that everyone sees. Whereas if you kind of like Chelsea, you got George Benson and Football Therapy for Chelsea. I don't know about what you guys have got, but they're level-headed, normal guys who want to chat crap about if we do badly. So, I think that is a factor when you think about Arsenal fans, but I also know a lot of mental Arsenal fans who are completely
delusional. The Blue podcast is quite deluded, to be honest.
I mean, I don't get it, mate, because I think stuff like Arsenal Fan TV just makes the atmosphere of the fans at the club toxic. I just can't. I don't like it.
Like normal fans playing up to the camera.
Yeah, but it's
they views and money. That's the problem.
They only get the interesting people in.
It affects the atmosphere of the fans. And I think it's a detriment to the team actually.
Definitely.
I don't like it.
But I think Arsenal have been even on the decline before Arsenal Fan TV anyway. They are delusional. That's the bottom line.
All right. Well, should we start talking about our top 4 predictions? Should we do top 6? We haven't got a 6th team here, but we can.
I mean, we've already sort of done this, haven't we?
We have. Me and Ben have done a podcast on our predictions for next season, but I think it'll be good to get more fans involved. And speaking about, so should we start in 6th place? We'll start with JC, then Alfie, then Finn, Ben, then me in each position, and we can then obviously debate on what everyone's put there.
For me, 6th place. I'll stick with Spurs. I think Spurs will retain 6th place again. For me, I just don't see. I think Jose's done.
All right.
I think Jose's done as a manager. He's a dinosaur. His tactics are all. I mean, who did they bring in? They brought in Joe Hart. They brought in that guy. That's it. And
I'm trying to
exactly. That's not even a quality signing. You know, he doesn't. What sixth place is the best Jose can do, and I think that's about it. So that's me. Spurs 6.
Who's next?
I mean, I would also put Spurs 6th for exactly the same reasons mentioned. I think whilst they're clearly a good side, whether they've really upgraded their side to push up into what is now getting an ever-improving sort of elite 5-4, whether I'm not sure they've done it. Can they pull out some quality where there wasn't last season? Maybe, but again, is Jose the man to get them, to take them up to that next level? I'm not convinced, honestly.
I guess to give credit to Jose, he did do a good job with them last season. And credit where credit's due. They were 14th and got them 6th, but like you say, I don't think they'll have improved enough to improve on that. So.
But also, sorry, Wolves, they're also a good shout,
They are.
Because they've got no European football now next season, so they can dedicate their whole season to the Premier League. They don't have to worry about Europa League or anything, so they can just go all out for those European spots.
What was that stat about their season? Like, how long was it? Was it like?
It was ridiculous. It was crazy.
Yeah. But so they'll be probably glad that they don't have European football next season. That's the rest.
I don't know if you guys remember the beginning of the season when they were doing all their qualifiers to get into Europa. They had a terrible start to the Premier League. I think they drew their first 3 or 4 games. They weren't scoring goals. But as soon as that got out the way, I think Nuno and his Wolves team went on a crazy run, and they actually lost 6th place to their own detriment towards the end of the season. So they're a good shot as well. So don't count them out.
They were scoring quite a lot of late goals to draw games, weren't they, early in the season?
Yeah. We even drew to them in the second week of second match day week.
Yeah.
I think we beat them 5-2 at the earlier in the season.
You guys thumped them both home and away.
Yeah, is what it is.
Mentality that they were knackered from the Europa League, but they still kept going to score those late goals to get draws and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, Finn, do you want to give your?
I would put a shout for Arsenal. I like Arteta. I think he's doing a really good job. I think the players fight for him, and I think they've just showed a good mentality since he's joined the club. I think they're much better defensively, and if you run it off the form they had since Arteta joined, they would be, I think it was 2nd or 3rd. I don't know, but I think he's doing a really good job, and I think if he gets the backing from the board, they sign. They've got Saliba and they linked back Gabriel from Lille. I mean, that's much better already, and then it looks like we're going to be keeping Aubameyang, hopefully. Not really, hopefully, but I think got a good size. Yeah, I think I would put them slightly above Tottenham because Mourinho, I think he's kind of past it.
But I think you nailed on. Finn, you pretty much said it. Do they get the backing from the board?
Yeah,
that's the thing. If they do, then yes, I do agree with you. But if they don't, then what has Arteta got to work with again?
Well, it's kind of the same thing with actually both Spurs and Arsenal. If one of the managers gets backing, the other doesn't. That one with the backing is definitely going to do better.
Yeah.
Ben, what's your pops?
I'm trying to remember what I said last time.
I think you said Spurs.
I think I said Spurs. Yeah, I'll go Spurs. For the same reasons as everyone else. It's just they're not a bad team, but they're not world beaters. So 6th place.
Yeah. But watch Jose win the Europa League with them and say it's his best ever achievement or something.
Yeah, definitely. For me, I am between. I know Wolves have done really well. I haven't got the Europa League, but I think for me it's between Arsenal and Spurs. And as I just said, it's between whoever gets the backing. If Arsenal keep Aubameyang and they get those 2 centre backs, then I think they'll definitely push for 6th. If Spurs can kind of keep the form they got after lockdown, I think they were quite good after lockdown. Am I wrong?
No, they did pretty well, yeah.
Yeah, if they can kind of improve on that, then I think it'll be a good battle for sixth, really, between those three clubs. So I'm gonna have to say Arsenal, because I bloody hate Spurs. Yeah.
Not that one before.
All right, let's get into the juicier positions, because obviously all five of us are in the top five, and we will obviously want our teams to do better next season. So we'll stay with the same people, and hopefully this will bring in more debates.
I think fifth goes back to Leicester again. I think that goes back to them. I don't really follow Leicester too well in terms of what they do now with the transfer market. But I think Brendan Rodgers has done phenomenally well. So I think fifth again for them. They got Europa League, so they've got more games now this season coming up, which is good for them. They obviously, I think Finn, you would prefer Champions League, but European football is European football, and I think. I don't know. It just depends. Does Brendan Rodgers add extra players? Do they replace Ben Chilwell? Do they, get in whoever else they need? I'm not too sure, Finn, but you know more about that. But I think fifth again for Leicester.
I personally would go with Arsenal. I think Arsenal are going to. I mean, I think there's some argument between Spurs and Arsenal. Could easily go either way, both of them. But I think Arsenal have a strong enough side to potentially push up. I think they didn't necessarily display all they could have last season. Now, whether they're going to go out there and spend the money, because, it's Arsenal, they don't like spending money. But if they do go out there and spend money and actually bring in a couple of extra players, the talent is there. The management potential is there for them to potentially push up. And now, putting Arsenal there does kind of leave Leicester in an awkward position. I'm aware of that. So if I was to continue, I have Leicester down at about 7 is with my prediction for Leicester, which I know is a bit painful. I do apologise, but I don't think Arsenal would accept the fan. I think once all the fans are back in now, of course, there's a whole argument whether the fans are going to be back in and when they're going to be back in. But I think it would just go down as such a poor season from Arsenal again if they were to finish outside the top 6. I don't think that would be sort of accepted. So I reckon they'll push on and get fifth for me.
Statement and a half from Alfie there.
I mean, it's fair enough. Yeah, Leicester were a team fighting relegation not too long ago until we won the Premier League, of course, and then
split that one.
I sent a message into a chat. That's what our team could be. See, like 10th first wise, we're linked with some good players, and when you look at that side, I mean, I think it's a very solid one, and I think there's a lot of good quality players in there, and I think I would go Leicester fifth. I mean, I'm not expecting to be in the Champions League because we got Europa League this season. We didn't have that last season, but I also don't think we're going to have the massive dip we had this season because obviously we had that massive break, but that's not an excuse really because everyone had that. But we had so many injuries. We had Soyuncu out, Maddison out, Ricardo out. We've had Ndidi out for spells. If we keep our best players, replace Teller as well, sign some of those players. I mean, I think we can definitely get fifth, maybe even Champions
League. Yeah, is that Ollie Watkins from Brentford? On the left.
So it's Ollie Watkins, Trincao, the guy who signed just for Barca. We're linked with him on loan. And then there's Demiral from Juventus, the centre back. But we're also linked with Ben Rama and stuff like that. I mean, I think apparently we're leading for Watkins at the moment.
No, Watkins.
I think he'd be. I've seen
a good signing.
Bits of him, and he looks like a really good signing.
I think he would suit Leicester's philosophy. We've seen what we can do in Maddison. I just think he would be a really, really good player. And I think with that squad, we've got Barnes. Barnes would be a big event. And to have Barnes as a bench player, I mean, Liverpool were linked with him. I'm not sure if it will happen now, but yeah, I think the only risk is Soyuncu. He's linked to Barca, but even if we sell Soyuncu, I mean, even if we sell Soyuncu, we've got Johnny Evans, who's been an amazing centre back this season. And
it's a bit old and slow though.
Watch him week in, week out, and you would see he's not past that.
Right, you're the Leicester fan here. I'm not shading.
You've been told, Tom. You've been told.
Really, really good player. I mean, was it Man City? Like,
They were.
not too long
They
ago.
were. Yeah.
Probably.
Not anymore.
Yeah, I mean, looking at that side, I forgot about Ricardo. I remember we did a current Premier League 11 side, and I had Ricardo as my second choice after Trent. I think having him out would have been a massive loss after the break. And Didi, Maddison, like you do forget Leicester had a dip, but they had 3 massive players out.
I know, and Soyuncu as well. Like it's we'll have it be literally forced to playing a 5 at the back. I mean, I think there was something going on with Chilwell as well, so we had to play George Thomas. He was playing his first ever game. We had so many. Yeah, so it's just like we couldn't have competed with that side. I mean, we had Ryan Bennett. We loaned him from Wolves. He was at centre half, and he was awful. He played a couple of games for us, and it is. Joe wasn't able to sign him back. He was only online, luckily. But
that just shows the importance of squad depth if those players are out.
Yeah. And that's why we need those signings.
And I think that's the same for United as well. I think when you saw Pogba out in the beginning of the year, you stepped up, until Bruno came in January. But, that was January, and he was out for, a large part of that season. So that's why we also need to invest. And you'll find my top 4 actually quite interesting.
I'm comfortable with 5th, maybe even higher if we can sign all those players. Because I think it's a very good side, and I'm very optimistic about that Leicester's future. I think we have potential to be a better club than Arsenal or Spurs because we're building better.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
I mean, I don't know if Rodgers is the man for that, but we can hire someone else if he's not.
But he's done well though. He's done well for you guys this season.
I love our board. Our owners are amazing. Obviously, our Victor, he died, but his son has just doing a great job. An amazing training facility they've invested in. Yeah, we're really.
I think Rodgers has done well for you guys this last season.
Yeah, he has. Yeah,
I think he's a good manager to be fair.
And Alfie knows him from his Liverpool times, and he nearly won the league though with Liverpool.
He's a good manager. There's no denying Brendan Rodgers is a solid manager. He's been here, there, and everywhere. But I think Leicester actually is quite a good fit for him. I think I'm not convinced he's necessarily a top 2 Premier League manager, but I think that kind of back from.
And Brendan Rodgers, even at Swansea when he first started, but he was
Celtic. I mean, I know it's not the hardest club in the world to manage, but
no. I can manage Celtic and win the league.
He do all right with Champions League at points. Players.
True.
Yeah. All right, Ben, what's yours?
I would say Leicester as well. But the thing is with this sort of prediction is it's very conditional on the transfers. It's so conditional on the transfers. So if some transfers come off and some transfers don't, it could quite easily change. So it's difficult, but based on current knowledge, I would go Leicester. Although I think I wouldn't say Arsenal are not in the mix because they do have quality in the side. And Arteta has shown himself to be a decent manager.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think they are playing for him, unlike the previous manager. But it's whether they back him.
Lots of ifs and buts at this stage of the season, isn't there? So you're not going to know until the transfer window. Really,
exactly. We can have this conversation. We can have this conversation next week, and we'll have a completely different top 4.
And we could almost do this again in a couple of weeks' time, maybe after the first game of the season, to see how our views have changed.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I have to say United. Oh, I'm joking. Probably Leicester. Looking at that potential side that you just sent in. You've got really good players in there. I think it'll be a really bad season for you if you aren't challenging for top 4 with that kind of side. Like, even though you've got Europa, that team and the depth that you should now have with buying those players. Yes, you've lost Ben Chilwell. That's one player in a not so problem position probably if you can get Telles.
Exactly. I mean, even we couldn't even have faith in that George Thomas. He was good when he played, and I back our board with signings. Like we haven't signed good players like for the last, or since before we won the league, we've been signing good players. So I just back our board.
Yeah, I think the most notable ones. Sorry, I think the most notable ones are Kante and Riyad Mahrez. And how cheap did you get them for?
Yeah, and we have the same director of football. We've also signed people like Ndidi. Like that was so cheap
in recruitment, that isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we've got a great recruitment team, and I just have faith in us that we can replace. I mean, I don't think we're going to have to lose that many players.
No. Yeah. All right, let's move into the top four. JC.
Based on current situations, I'm putting United fourth. Honestly,
he's not backing his own team.
No. I think it's being.
I'll tell you why. I'm basing it just purely. We haven't added anyone. We're not even near adding anyone new to the team. We've got a great starting 11. I think our starting 11 is fine, but what else do we have after that? Not much. And then you've seen Chelsea, Werner. What's the guy from Ajax? What's his name? Ziyech. Potentially Kai Havertz.
Ben Chilwell.
Bench. Those are massive. Those are quality signings. So and especially the way Frank Lampard plays, I think it's a good philosophy. They play a good style of football. So I'm putting United fourth, and that's just Bailey. And that might change if we sign Sancho. Then And I think the key for us is we need to reduce that gap between Liverpool and City. We need to get it closer, and we need to be pushing away from Leicester, Arsenal, Tottenham. We need to be pushing further away from them and closer towards City and Liverpool, and closing that gap. And then we need to be challenging for titles. I mean, it's been way too long.
Yeah, I was going to say it's I understand it because he's basing it on current circumstances.
Yeah,
but I think even with your current squad, I think you'll easily get top four.
I 100% agree with you. We'll easily get top four. I mean, this season I think was probably like one of the worst Premier League seasons. Besides Liverpool, of course. I think the rest of the teams weren't fantastic. We got 66 points and we came third.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think all the teams just had a bad season. I think we'll easily get fourth. I don't think it'll be much of a struggle, but we definitely need to add squad depth.
Sure.
Yeah. So United fourth for me at this moment, but as we said, in 3 weeks' time, I can say we might be fighting for second. It depends on who we get and all that. It just depends.
True.
I think. I mean, for the very, very rare occasion, I actually do agree with a United fan. In the sense that I mean, not to mention, I'm pretty sure I'm contractually obliged as a Liverpool fan to not put United anywhere above fourth. But I think he said he's actually correct. I think the United side is good. They have good players. They've proven that they're obviously a good footballing side. Whether they have, and I think Sancho is going to come. If Sancho does come in and is the player that he should be, then it absolutely could change, and they could even reach dizzy heights of third like they are now. But I think. Yes, if you're going on the basis that he hasn't signed with the team they've got now, they'll get Champions League. But whether they're going to be able to push up and sort of challenge that developing top three, if you like, I'm not convinced. I would stick with him exactly the same and say
you get Sancho and that's it. They'll still push on.
No, I think if we get Sancho, I think I'll definitely put us third and even closer to City and Liverpool. What's the gap? It's 30-something points, something crazy like that. I think we can reduce that back to half of that easy if you get Sancho.
If you got the centre back, the centre mid, and Sancho, then definitely that's closing.
Oh, 100%, yeah, no doubt about it. I mean.
It's a big
since the lockdown, I think we were top of the. If you have a little mini Premier League table from lockdown, I think we were first or second or something. We were right up there.
I think it was City and United equal at the top.
Exactly, and we're even above Liverpool at that stage. But that obviously doesn't mean for anything. But that just actually shows you what Bruno Fernandes and we're on the right track. We definitely are, no doubt about it. It's the best I've felt in many of years, you know. But we just need Ollie just needs the back in, and as I said, we need to close the gap.
Yeah, it's always a big if in the transfer window, isn't it?
That's the thing, and that's why we can have this conversation many times, and it'll constantly change.
Yeah,
Alfie, you didn't seem so sure when Ben said that Sancho will help them. Well, mentioned that Sancho might make them.
I think they will get Sancho.
Yeah, but just Sancho. What's your views on that, Alfie?
I think Sancho's a baller. There's no denying Sancho's a baller. And if he comes across and plays as well as he should, is he going to help United? Yes. But you can't be a one-player team in the Premier League. That's the first thing to say. And I think it takes more than just one superstar player to come and change the fortunes of a team. I mean, don't get me wrong, I think United probably are, they are one of the best teams in the Premier League. There's no denying that. They're up there. But whether just bringing in one player is gonna suddenly gonna score all the goals.
He's playing with Pogba.
I mean, they're still, the thing is, they've still got to stop conceding goals. That's the other thing. It's all well and good scoring goals. You've got to stop conceding as well.
You're spot on. I think he's not gonna change everything. That's why I said we need a right winger, Sancho. We need another midfielder. We need another centre back, and then I can say yes. Then we can be talking about challenging for a title. But no, and that's why I'm saying fourth, third. But at this current stage, fourth.
I think this is going to get a bit controversial. I would say Man U fourth, but I would say it fully depends. If they don't sign Sancho, if they don't sign Sancho, I think Leicester could overtake them. Because if you think about it, Bruno cannot maintain his form. Like, it's impossible. He's not going to get this many penalties.
It was already shown in his stats, wasn't it? He was starting to get fatigued because his stats were starting to go down.
They're not going to maintain this, and unless they get Sancho, I honestly think like some of the players you're linked with other than Sancho, I just don't think that great. And But if you get Sancho, if you get a centre back, if you get a CDM, you can potentially overtake Chelsea if some looks again. But fourth at the moment with our with the current situation, I would say fourth.
And it also just depends also throughout the season who picks up injuries, how long they're out for. There's so many different factors, and that's why I reiterate the fact: squad depth. You need if Bruno's out, who's got to back him up? We've got Lingard and Mata. Come on, So
maybe 4 seasons ago that would have been all right, but.
I love Lingard.
I think Solskjaer's good.
He's done.
I think Solskjaer's good, but I don't think he's compared to the other managers. I wouldn't say he's. Brendan Rodgers is a better manager than Solskjaer.
I 100% agree with you. I 100% agree with you. But the thing is, I think Solskjaer's a good fit because he understands the club, he understands the values, he understands the tradition, he understands the history.
But that's why he needs to back it.
But I'm going to play devil's advocate. That doesn't win you trophies. That doesn't put you first and second, knowing the history of the club. In that sense.
It doesn't. But we've actually seen the improvement under Solskjaer. We've been playing so much better football. He understands Man United as the attacking football, not the Jose Mourinho park the bus style.
I completely agree. I'm just saying obviously it will help.
At least build that platform.
I'm just worried in a United sense. Not that I've ever been worried about United doing badly. It would make me happy. But if you were a United fan, are you not slightly worried that Solskjaer hasn't really shown the ability to take the game by the clutch of the hand? Or
is that not down to squad depth?
When you got the full-time position, I said on my own channel way back before the season even started, I said Solskjaer's he's not the man to get us trophies. I said that. But now I have changed my mind slightly. If he's get the right players like Bruno, if we get Sancho, I do see progress under him, and I definitely do see a way forward with him. So I do think he is the right man for the job. He just needs those players around him. He's not the better manager than I think Lampard's a better manager. I think Rodgers is a better manager. But if he's given the right players and he manages them well, I think Pogba even wants to sign a new contract, and I would never have thought that a year ago. I thought that was done. He's off to Madrid, but now Pogba wants to stay because he understands there's a he sees a pattern. He sees the future with Man United and Solskjaer there. So I think Solskjaer's the right man at the moment. So I'm pretty happy. He just needs the back end of the board to get the right players.
Fair enough. Ben?
I'm going to go United as well, based on the current circumstances. But I think it's that thing as well, saying with injuries. So I was saying with Sancho, if he comes into that side, he can play with Bruno, Pogba, Martial, Rashford. But if a couple of them get injured, which is why we're talking about squad depth, you're thinking, oh, well, I'm not sure here. Because you're going to have, like you say, Lingard and Mata coming in, which is why you need that centre-back and centre-mid and players like that. But I still think if there is no injuries and stuff like that, I think with Sancho coming in, you can easily get third. But I think it's always difficult for Solskjaer because as soon as he has a couple of poor results, he's always like, oh, Pochettino. It's always just there. But I think he's done a good job so far because he obviously he started off really well, then it went a bit sour, but he's recovered it. Every time it's gone a bit sour, he's recovered it. So
he has. I think there was even a stage in December where I think the board were talking about giving him the sack, but then we beat City and we beat Spurs consecutively in the Premier League. You're spot on. He turns it around as soon as he's down. He turns it around and we get a bit of form going again.
It depends. Next time it goes a bit sour, if he can turn it around again, then he's obviously onto something.
But that's what we need. We need consistency because the league is not 1 over 14 games. It's 1 over 38 games. You need consistency, and there are going to be injuries throughout a season. It's normal. It happens. It's part of the game. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what comes in the week. But I'm pretty stoked, optimistic for the future.
I mean, me personally, with thinking that Guardiola is going to be going after this season, I'd take Pochettino in a heartbeat. But I don't think he's going to wait around for another season, to be honest. I think he'll get a job somewhere. I don't know where, though.
I don't know where, though. That's the thing at the moment.
But maybe he will hang around for another season. I don't know. Unless there's a sacking somewhere, but I don't know.
I would say, slightly controversially in the sense I'm about to explain, even if United get Sancho, I think Chelsea would still be third and United in fourth. Literally because we've brought in 3 attacking players, and as many of you have said, depth. We have now got that, in terms of our attack anyway, in abundance. Like we can almost, what Lampard seems to be trying to do is almost go in the Guardiola sense of, I've got all these top quality players, I can rotate, I can win things. And having Havertz now in as well, I mean, we're even still linked with Benrahma to replace William. Like, we are hoping to bring in all this young quality, and even if United gets Sancho, I'm not saying it would be definitely Chelsea easy third. I'm saying I think we'd still pinch it, if that makes sense.
I think the reason that there is that sort of question mark is because you haven't strengthened your defence. If you do sign a centre back, then it'll be a different conversation again.
And a keeper.
Because you've said quite a few times in previous episodes that your defence is shaky. Just like this, but you feel
more shaky. More shaky. I'm kind of speaking in the mentality that I'm almost 100% certain we're going to get a goalkeeper. Because in my head, from everything that I see, I think we'll get like Dunk maybe, or someone along that, maybe not quite Koulibaly level, but we'll get someone at that, probably just that level below, who's got good numbers, who can just shore up that defence, which is quite young. If you're taking out Rudiger, it's quite a young defence.
I think that's definitely the area you need to improve on. I think you can go back to when Rodgers nearly won the league with Liverpool. They had a great attack, but their defence was, they're leaking goals, and that's what ultimately probably cost them at the end, besides the slip. But
we won't talk about that because that's
No, I'm only joking. I just
you see him just smiling, man.
Yeah, he's just
No, I'm
getting
joking.
flashbacks.
I can't say anything. They deserve the league this year. So
Yeah, true.
yeah.
next
All
year.
right, go on.
No,
You guys say
I
something,
think.
Alfie?
No, I think you'd agree, and I imagine, and I'd be very surprised if anyone else could put anyone else in third other than Chelsea. I think Chelsea are a good side. If they improve, if they stay a bit defensively and get a new keeper in, I think they will maintain being one of the best sides in the Premier League. I don't think they've got enough to push up to challenge City and Liverpool in the first, second places. I think they're still a couple of seasons. I mean, don't get me wrong. This is probably they've got money. They've got money to spend if they want it, but they'd have to spend it very, very wisely, I think, to get anywhere near that.
Yeah, and I
think
think
we've
that's
got like a season away almost, if that makes sense. Like, we're bringing in these players. If they don't flop, and if they do well, if they have that whole season together, and then we bring in like a couple more signings just to strengthen the squad, that would be the season where we're pushing, actually challenging Liverpool and City if they haven't flopped at that point. So that's why I'm saying third, definitely.
I think that's the key going for United and Chelsea. We have to close that gap between City and Liverpool, and we have to be pushing the title not to when there's 8-9 games left of the season. You have to be pushing it to when there's about 3 or 4, even 2 games left of the season. You know, that's the next goal now, and then from that, then you can take forward, and then you can actually say we've actually got a good chance of winning the league that season, whatever it may be. But I think that's the key for both clubs going forward. And I think Chelsea are probably leading that race in terms of United just because of the quality they've added to their squad already. You know?
Yeah, fair enough. Should we move into the same kind of debatey positions? Second, JC.
Ooh, you know, oh my word. This is a tough one.
Tighter, isn't it?
This, you know, I think it's going to be much closer.
Oh, definitely.
I'd be a lot more confident saying that when City, if City sign a centre back.
But you know what? I think
How you feel about it?
David Silva, I know he's gone now. That's a big loss. And I know Pep's always talking about Phil Foden replacing him. Do you see that, Ben? Do you see Phil Foden being the next
He's definitely showing is another thing, but he's definitely got the potential to do that. But if he doesn't, we've still got other players like Bernardo Silva to come in and players like that. And we've signed that Ferran Torres for another attacking threat. So
I've never even heard of Ferran Torres until
no. Apparently he's supposed to be good. He's pacey, got potential. So I mean, for 20 million, it's a bargain.
Kind of player. He's Spanish. He's technical. He's fast. Yeah. He's young. He's got everything you want from a pet.
Yeah, but I think my second place prediction, I'm going to go Liverpool. I think Liverpool. I think it will be close. It will be like the season before where it was decided by 1 point or whatever it was. I think it will be another close race between City and Liverpool. I go to Liverpool second. Probably an unpopular opinion with Alfie. So
I'll take it away then, Alfie.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's going to be closer. It's going to be closer this season than this season was, but I can't see Liverpool falling apart enough to not win it again. And maybe maybe I'm wrong there, but I think until they played Watford, funnily enough, I think it was one of, if not the best team the Premier League's ever seen that had been assembled. And yes, they perhaps didn't perform as they should have, even post-lockdown. It wasn't great. And that game against Watford, and I know there's a controversy there's other teams who would try and claim their award as best teams.
Who would definitely claim
but we won't, because I generally think, I mean, they were on track to smash every record imaginable. And we didn't perhaps, well, not even perhaps, purely, I'm almost certain, because got lazy and because we knew we'd won it, it was too easy, and went out on the piss after we won it, and then that all fell apart. But I think City will do well. I think City will make it'll be a tighter, closer title battle, but City will finish back in second where they belong, really, and Liverpool will maintain the Premier League and the Champions League and the FA Cup.
All right. Finn?
Yeah, I wasn't really listening. I got distracted by Alfie's cat in the background.
Yes. Is he he's still there? Beanie, come back.
I think it will. I think Man City will win it. I think they've just got. I think he's got a much better stride. What's the captain?
He's got his appearance now. He's done his bit. Yeah.
So,
It's probably named Steven Gerrard, the cat's name.
If I have my way. Stevie, come here, Stevie.
I back Man City. I think they've got a better squad now. I don't think it's going to be a case of Liverpool dropping off. I think Liverpool will still do great. I just think Man City will do so much better than the way they've shown with it already. I mean, that squad's looking amazing. I think Silva will be a loss, but if you do sign I can't pronounce it. It's such a good squad. It's so much better than Liverpool's. I mean, Liverpool's bench is. Yeah, I think Klopp's a better manager. Don't get me wrong, but I think it's just a better squad.
Yeah, but I think Aguero is key. If he doesn't get injured, he always gets injured every season. He always misses a couple games.
Yeah, Jesus is great though. I like him.
He's had a very lackluster season.
I know. He's young. The thing is with Jesus is he's got that really good stat where it's like amount of goals scored per games played, blah blah, whatever it is, blah blah blah. But he needs at least 5 chances to score one. With Aguero, it's like 1 or 2, bang, you got a goal. But he's not a bad player. It's just not Aguero.
It's very difficult to be Aguero.
Yeah. Iheanacho, do you know? Yeah, I'm assuming he was sick for you, and he was awful for us. But he started getting into gear, and I just think Jesus just needs time in the Premier League. Like Iheanacho, because he wasn't starting regularly, he wasn't great for us at all when he started. But this season he's been amazing. Yeah. When he starts getting more football, I think it'll be fun. I rate Jesus, and I think he is good enough to be. And if not, Man City have got the money to spend to replace him.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably going to be Aguero's last season because he's doing 10 years like Silva's done this year because he came in 2011. And there's that link. I think he'll probably go to Barcelona. There's that link with Lautaro Martinez, which I think would be a fantastic signing. But I mean, with the way Barca are at the moment, maybe he will come City, but I don't know. That's for the future. But yeah, Aguero is still by far our best striker. Yeah.
So what's your prediction?
I'm going to back City to come first, but I'll be a lot more confident of that if we get a centre-back, i.e. Koulibaly, someone like that.
Oh, yeah.
Because our defence is just too shaky. I mean, if we don't get a centre-back, I'll probably put a second, but I think we will get that centre-back. So I'm going to back us to get first. But it's I think it's so obvious that we didn't replace Company, which is why our defence was so awful, and it's why we lost so many games.
Mind-boggling, actually, how that didn't happen.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, and it was so clear in a lot of those losses that because we were like dominating, creating chances, and we didn't finish the chances. So as soon as they have 1 or 2 counter-attacks, and they score because our defence isn't good enough. Which is why we desperately need that centre-back. I mean, it's just one of them where it's just so obvious. So if they don't do it, it's kind of a crime. But yeah, I'm going with that.
I'm almost tempted not to put Liverpool in second now because everyone's put Liverpool in second. But I think, I mean, obviously apart from you.
I
think it, again, we've said this all bloody podcast, depends. I think Liverpool need to get more than just Thiago in midfield, personally. Otherwise, they're going to do that thing where they just don't strengthen enough after winning a title. Does that make sense?
It's not looking like they're going to get Thiago, though, is it? I think PSG are getting that now. Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Like they really need to get midfielders, in my personal opinion. I think in the system, the players work, but if they're going to beat City, if they get Koulibaly, Thorek or Ake, Ferran Torres, their team is also, you can tell with City, City's a reaction team. When City loses, they win 4-0, 5-0, 6-0 the next 3 games. Do you think they're going to do that the season after they've just lost so badly to Liverpool? They're going to react in that sense, in my opinion. So that's why I would put City in first, Liverpool in second. But again, if City don't get Koulibaly, if Liverpool get, I say, 2 pretty damn good midfielders, and maybe like one more like second replacement winger, just in case someone gets injured, then I think it's still all to play for.
What do you reckon? Sorry, carry on.
Yeah. But what the thing is, we've been speaking about squad depth and all that, but Liverpool, in all honesty, probably out of United, City, and Chelsea now, they probably don't have the best squad depth. But those players that come in, they just fit into the system so well. Jurgen Klopp has done fantastic. Like if Henderson's out, maybe Keita comes in. If Firmino's out, Divock Origi comes in, and Origi does the job. It's scary to how I think Klopp's done fantastically well there. So, I think my prediction. I think Liverpool can win it again. They can. It'll be close. But we'll just see. Things can happen over the course of a season.
Well, it's like what we said earlier. Yeah. It's like what we said earlier about how De Bruyne won the Player of the Season. Liverpool are so well oiled by Klopp that you can just put any player in.
Yeah.
But if you want to beat City and if they have their reaction season, they brought in quite a few quality players, then you need almost a little bit more of just a fantastic system.
I think of all the teams discussed as well, another aspect to consider, you have to say Liverpool have probably the best youth academy setup and ability to bring players through, because that's something we saw towards the end of last season, that we do have understudy. I mean, Trent's not old himself, but he's got understudies in Williams, and there's that applies to most of the other positions on the pitch as well that are, really, really good young players. You're talking 17, 18, 19-year-old players ready to come and step in. Players that would get into those kind of semi sides like Leicester, for example, they'd walk into that kind of side. And so I think the fact that Liverpool's got options on the bench, I apologise, but no, I'll make my point. And the fact they've got those kind of Premier League quality, lower standard Premier League quality, but Premier League quality nonetheless, players on the bench to come on and fill in when the first teamers aren't there, I think is a real strength, because it's a way to not spend a lot of money but still get some real ballers. There's that as well. I
want to counter that, because I've just experienced an entire season where we've literally played youth players the entire season. And if you want to win a title, yes, youth players are great for squad depth. It's great to have them come through, and I think especially like the group you have now, and they didn't win many youth trophies, but they obviously are doing very well under Klopp. If you want to win a trophy, in my opinion, in the Premier League, then you need more than just youth players. Like, that's how we struggled. I mean, we had a shocking keeper and not the best defence, but we still struggled at times. Youth players can only help you out so much. At their young age.
Unless you have a world-class youth player like Trent.
Yeah.
But I think it's with talking. Yeah. And there you go.
No, that's all I have to say. Like, it's only the odd player like Trent who can come through and be instantly amazing player.
No, of course, no. Trent's actually the exception, not the rule. But I think we've got to remember this Liverpool team is a team that already has won the league and won the league fairly comfortably. So the players that are there have shown their ability to do that. Now, whether you can make strong arguments that the other teams weren't at their best, I think that's probably true. I think City definitely are a better side than they showed this season, and it certainly should have been. I think Liverpool deserved to win the league. I think it probably should have been tighter than it was.
Yes,
and I think you're right. You obviously can't win the league just with youth. But I'd like to think that the youth, what they do is they provide, and it's some very limited. It's not far from across the whole team, but in some positions they have got the youth player who fills in that role of the squad depth. If Trent is out injured or Trent is tired, you go, we've got Williams. He can come on. Yes, he's not as good yet, but give him a chance. He's the kind of player that, like I say, would play at a lower Premier League side and would probably start for them. I don't think that's unfair. And he's the kind of player who may well end up on loan.
I suppose you could look at it when City won it first time with Guardiola. The only really major that they made was Mahrez that season, and then we went and won it again. So maybe you don't, but I guess with the question of squad depth, that it might be a different sort of.
I think Curtis Jones is really good. I think
Yeah.
Harry Wilson, he could come into a team. I think we do have some, like Harvey Elliott, I don't think is anywhere near. But we do have good. Like if we just start them off the bench, introduce them to the team gradually. We're going to be playing in the FA Cup because your manager refuses to play it because he's lazy. I think it's just a matter of gradually introducing them and not having to rely on them. Having that.
I think Liverpool definitely more players. There's no error there. I think, like you say, the fact that it was pretty much, well, it was in some cases literally these team that played in Carabao Cup and FA Cup games. I mean, that was because we were off becoming the best club in the world at the Club World Cup. But that's, I don't know. But no, I think the thing is, but the point to make is that, I mean, yes, that team did eventually get embarrassed. But
Flamengo.
Yeah, I'm not. They're a great team wherever they're from. But no, I think you got to remember our youth team put 5 past Arsenal. Now, yes, it was an Arsenal. It was a young Arsenal side as well. But I forget and don't really mind who we eventually got knocked out to. But it's proof that the Liverpool under-23s are not a Premier League side. They're not a Premier League quality side. We know that. That's not a surprise to anyone. But elements of that, and I think Harvey Elliott actually is a baller. I think Harvey Elliott's going to develop into being more of a baller. He's still very young, Harvey Elliott.
It's physicality-wise, isn't it? They've not got the physicality yet of Premier League players.
I've heard that Harvey Elliott's been hitting gym. The rumours going on. No, you're right, but that's true of that's true of any 16, 17-year-old
exactly.
you find in the world. They're not fully developed mentally or physically, and that's perhaps there have been cases of 16-year-old youth players who are rapid wingers, and all of a sudden they sprout 4 inches and could gain 10, and all of a sudden they're not a rapid winger anymore, and they've got to try and find a new place to play. But so it's a difficult job, but the players we've got so far, I think, are looking strong. I think it's just a case of, are they good enough to plug the gaps? I guess we'll find out. It's very difficult to know.
Just speaking from United's perspective in terms of young talent and youth and all that, I think Mason Greenwood's been probably the brightest star out of all the youngsters that have come through this season. We've also got Brandon Williams. James Garner still has to come through. Will he be part of the plans and gradually be brought through the process, or will he go into loan to Swansea? I've heard. There's also Mengi, the centre half, coming through as well. Chong's gone on loan to Werder Bremen now, So I think United also have a strong case in terms of youth talent,
Imagine the England squad.
So there's potential.
This has to be, sorry, can I just wait here? The England squad needs to be another debate entirely. Because we're going to be here for so long, because honestly, I'm sure all of us could talk about the future of England for so long.
You're not wrong. No, the future is definitely bright, though. That's a good thing. That's a good thing.
Definitely.
Well, I want a World Cup. I want a Euros.
I would love to be alive and following football like I am now and winning Euros or a World Cup for England. It'd be
2021 Euro 2020 in 2021.
Something like that.
Exactly.
Right.
Here's a question. Do you think Messi is being linked with
City?
I
can't see that's him just getting the money, or do you reckon he actually wants to leave this time?
I don't think he succeeds.
I think the Barcelona president spoke earlier this evening and said Messi's ending his career at Barcelona. That's what he said.
But they don't get on. Messi and the president have for a couple of years now. They've said Messi doesn't want to be at Barcelona with that president.
That's true, but me personally, I just don't see him going anywhere else. He's been there since he was 12 years old,
If he does go anywhere, it'll be back to Newell's old boys in Argentina.
Yeah.
The one club.
He'll be some. I doubt he'll go to a massive Premier League side. He'll go.
They said
I don't think he'd do that well though either. I genuinely think he'd struggle to. I know I might sound controversial, but I genuinely think a player who spent so long bedding and getting to know and playing with Barcelona, if you throw him in a City team, yes, it's a little bit. It's like playing FIFA. You suddenly buy all these top quality players. It's not necessarily true that they're just going to gel immediately and work. So yes, you could stick Messi in there or whatever. But I think
it's only one player coming into a team, so it's not like a case of them gelling, but it's a case of does he adapt to the league? I think
it's a very physical league.
You can throw Messi with MK Dons and he will destroy it. He'll win the title with them.
That's what I was going to say. He's got that quality. So I don't think.
If I was Messi, I'd go with him like MK Dons.
He's probably going to. The only reason I'm leaning for it is because Ronaldo went to Juventus. He went to another league, went to the best club in the league, and wants to win another trophy. Could Messi realise?
Wasn't there talk of Ronaldo going to Barcelona?
That's not.
That was a rumour I heard.
It's all PSG.
Ronaldo and Messi are completely different individuals. Ronaldo's all about ego, and then Messi's like really humble. Like Ronaldo's done it in other leagues. Like he's done it in the Premier League.
He's really humble with his 10 million euro house and his flash cars and all that kind of stuff.
It's difficult to be humble when you're like that.
I just think they're different players. I can't see Messi.
Oh, they are. They're very, very different players.
Yeah,
One of them a physical master.
Messi's got the quality to be successful in the Premier League.
Oh, definitely. I agree. Yeah.
He's obviously not going to be bad. He's a good footballer. He's arguably
he suddenly becomes League Two standard.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
forget Messi, Marco Brighton would start ahead of him.
Don't forget Messi Lingard. Don't forget Messi Lingard.
Oh yeah.
I think Messi should go to Wickham. Honestly, I think that's recently promoted Wickham. I'm just like different subject. Yeah. What are we thinking about the teams coming up into the Premier League? Are we thinking they're going to hang around, or are we going to see?
Leeds will be desperate. See, I mentioned this in the
okay.
because they've been wanting to get back to the Premier League for so long. You think they're going to lose the opportunity to stay in it?
I think it's interesting in the matches against United. I'm really looking forward to that.
I'm also looking forward to that.
As a neutral in those matches, I'm looking forward to that.
I'm also looking forward to it. I'm actually glad Leeds are back. I don't know how to pronounce the manager's name.
Bielsa.
But I mean, even Messi said he wants to work under him back in the day.
Messi to Leeds, they are.
Messi to Leeds, imagine that.
I think Leeds can be top 10 easy. I think they've got a shot within the top half of the table. Definitely Leeds. Who else? West Brom came up as well.
Fulham.
I'm not sure about them.
I'm not Fulham.
I'm not sure.
I think Fulham will with Scott Parker. I think they'll be in a relegation battle.
Yeah,
I think they'll be in a relegation battle.
If Fulham stay up next season, they go down the season after. In my opinion, they're not a team that's sustainability.
You're spot on, Alfie. No, you're spot on there. Yeah.
I like Village. So
Village is a good manager.
Yeah, Seven Village is good.
West Brom might be okay, but I'm not. I don't know who would go down though. I feel like
I think Palace.
I think Palace losing Zaha.
Yeah,
gone.
Palace is a shout. Yeah.
West Ham struggled. I mean, they recovered late, but they weren't confident this season.
I mean,
they're always signing of quality
wise.
And Burnley as well. Burnley
behave.
Struggling.
It didn't work out for him at United, but I think West Ham suits him because it's a lower down team, not as much pressure.
England wasn't great.
I think that's Sir Alex Ferguson's only mistake was suggesting Moyes. I think that's the only mistake he's ever made in his career.
I don't think Moyes was given enough.
It was just too high of a club for him.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think West Ham. Fulham, and possibly I don't know who else, but I think West Ham and I think possibly Palace if they lose Zaha.
Yeah,
it's a good shot for that.
I'll go Fulham, Villa, and Palace. I think.
Oh,
that's why I went. We went the same, me and Ben.
And also, do Villa keep Grealish? Does he come to United?
I think he's more likely to come to United if Sancho doesn't come.
Exactly, and he basically single-handedly kept Villa up by himself.
And he's an Aston Villa fan, and I think if he got relegated, he would definitely have gone. But because he stayed in the Premier, he might be like, "Oh, I'm going to stay around."
If I was actually hoping Villa got relegated, so we could get Grealish for cheap. We could have got him for like 40 million. But now they want 80 million. I mean, that's ridiculous.
It's not the nature of it.
That's even, you know, there's Donny van der Beek from Ajax who you can get for 40 million. I think he's even a better player than Grealish.
He's 40 million, Van der Beek.
I think exactly. I'm also quite surprised, but that's what I've been hearing. He's definitely way worth, you know,
way
much
more
higher than that. Yeah.
I think with teams like West Ham, I think regardless of the manager, they've got enough quality in that team to stay up. If Antonio keeps on scoring as well,
that's crazy.
They need to stay up. I mean, that stadium, they really can't afford to go down. It'd be weird in London Stadium in the Championship. I mean,
but yeah, they've got. I think they've got enough quality to stay up.
I would say Palace then going down with West Brom. Maybe not West Brom, haven't they?
I think West Brom will probably be in a relegation battle, but I think they will probably end up maybe 15th, 14th.
For me, Leeds either finish 10th or they get relegated. I think they're going to throw everything at it.
I was thinking
all the money, and it's either going to gel or it's just not. So they're the kind of team who could finish 20th or 10th very easily, Norwich, just depending on.
Look at them; they play good football. I mean, it doesn't work in the Prem necessarily. So
I mean, Norwich will come back up again next season. I think they as long as they do hold on to, which by the looks of it, they are mostly holding on to their squad. They will bounce back up. I think that's true of pretty much everyone who's relegated this season. I think they will. They are teams that should bounce back up again. But
trying to think of other players that West Ham have with quality.
Yamalenko.
Felipe Anderson.
Right. Yeah. See, they've got Felipe Anderson's quality, and they have got the players.
How Rice is still there, I don't know. I mean,
Rice. I really want Rice.
Could go so many better.
I wouldn't want him at Leicester, let alone Chelsea. I don't rate Rice positionally at all. I don't think.
Rice has been linked with every club.
I don't think not City, but there's a reason no one snapped him up yet.
He's a West Ham fan.
He's Eric Dyer.
No, he went to Chelsea Academy, and we let him go to West Ham, which was a bit of a shame.
West Ham also got that other Serbian guy who scored a couple goals for them post lockdown.
Oh, Suchek.
Suchek, that's it. Yeah, he looks pretty decent for them as well.
Yeah. And Bowen as well. Yeah. He's very good.
Who did you say? Sebastian Haller?
No,
Bowen,
yeah.
I thought you said Haller. I was going to.
No.
Haller.
Let's not go into Haller.
No.
I mean, he might be okay in the right system. Like he was good at Frankfurt, so.
Chris wasn't too bad either.
I'd be good at Frankfurt. I mean,
he's not too bad. He's West Ham standard. You know, I think he's all right for them.
Wasn't Rice one of the centre mids that was linked with United as like that one of the options?
Who's this?
Declan Rice. Was he?
He is. I actually know quite even my dad. He constantly talks about Declan Rice and says we must sign him. You know. Me personally, you know, he is a good player, but I don't know. You know, there's always that fixation about young British talent. You know, and you know what I mean. And there's probably better options across Europe, and you can probably get him for half the price. You know.
Yeah.
You know, it's just about trusting your European scouting network and just putting it into them. Because I think Man United were told to sign Davies and Pulisic. You know.
Yeah.
And they didn't listen to them. You know.
Yeah. I saw United were linked with was it Chilwell as well as Chelsea? I didn't really get that because
we don't.
Sure.
No, there's Luke Shaw for me. I love Luke Shaw. I think we've missed him since he's been injured now.
Yeah.
And we still got Williams. So now I don't. You know, but
that's the question of squad depth, maybe.
Yeah. I think, as I said, a centre back, another midfielder, and Sancho.
Yeah, do you not? So it's like, is Williams right-footed?
He is right-footed, and I think he can be a good backup for Aaron Wan-Bissaka.
Yeah, so maybe get Chilwell in, and then Williams can put on the right.
But are you going to get Chilwell and Luke Shaw, who both want to start? You know, they both want to be first-team footballers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's true. So
Is Finn trying to talk?
I think Finn's trying to talk, but I can't hear him again.
No.
Hey.
Oh, there you go.
Probably not the same.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Well, yeah.
Hello.
I think Chilwell's pretty set to Chelsea.
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty done deal. I think
Mm.
he'll be okay, but he's not going to set the world.
No.
Well, you hope so. Anyway, should we start wrapping the podcast up there?
yeah.
We've been talking for a bonkers amount of time right now. Thank you, guys. Watch. It's so late. I'm not starting to speak.
You got it. I believe in you.
Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the videos. We'll have everyone in the description below, so you can all check them out. We'll even have Finn's Instagram, even though he hasn't got a channel currently. If you enjoyed the videos, make sure you subscribe and subscribe to everyone else here. Leave a like if you enjoyed it, and we'll see you guys at 4 p.m. on Thursday.
United.
Liverpool.